Dr. Wendy Trubow is a board-certified OBGYN and has over 25 years of experience in the field. And she wrote the book on reducing toxins in our lives. Her best-selling book, Dirty Girl, Ditch the Toxins, Look Great, and Feel Freaking Amazing, is the book. And in the book, and in this conversation, Dr. Wendy lets you in on the answers you've been looking for to feel your best, age gracefully, and finally understand what your body has been trying to tell you. We talk a lot about the liver and how to best gradually support this critical detoxification organ with manageable baby steps into a reduced toxin lifestyle. If you're curious but overwhelmed at the prospect of living a lower toxin life, and in helping your clients do the same, Dr. Wendy's got you. So let's have a listen. Hi, I'm Erin Power.
And I'm Laura Rupsis.
We're certified health coaches, and this is Health Coach Radio.
This podcast is about the art, science, and business of health coaching.
We share our insider tips to help you become a better coach and entrepreneur.
And we interview expert guests to discover how they've made it in this growing field.
It's time for health coaches to make an impact.
It's time for Health Coach Radio.
Dr. Wendy Trubow is in the house. We are super excited to talk to you. We had to hit record because otherwise we could have just kept going and realized we're not recording anything. So here we go. Welcome, Dr. Wendy. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
We're excited to talk about all things toxins. And boy, there's so much to unpack here. I don't want to I don't want to get ahead of things. I want you to just explain to our audience sort of why you're here, who you are, a little bit of your origin story about how you landed to doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a couple of different peaks to that. So I really actually thought that I wasn't smart enough to be in medicine. So I went into sales and I went into psychology. And when I was in my sales job after college, my clients kept asking me medical questions. And I was 22. So they were like, Wendy, I have a question for you. I'm like, I'm your sales rep. I'm selling you audio, visual. I'm selling you business cards. I'm selling you brochures. I'm selling you video. Why are you asking me this? And they're like, I just feel like you would know. It's happened across the board. People would stop me on the street and ask me random things. And I was like, okay, I'm clearly the information booth for medicine. So I went into medicine. And at the time, I didn't know about nurse practitioners and I didn't know about PAs. It wasn't a thing. I also come from a lot of doctors. So you're going to medical school or you're not going to medical school. That was kind of how you participate in medicine. That's just what there was for me. So I went into medicine. And by the time and of course I have to do the hardest thing. Okay. I'm someone who likes to do the hard things. I don't like to do the easy things. I like to do the things that are hard. So when I went into medicine, I thought I would do geriatrics. And then I found I hated it, could not cope with it, not my speed, and ended up going into OBGYN. And my dad's an OBGYN, so I kind of knew that it was hard. And by the time I was done with residency, my health was wrecked. But I didn't recognize it because here's the first important thing about health that I think is really important. It's most of the time not just a straight line and then bam, you go down, right? It's this just sort of slow decline. So by the time I got out of residency, this is the first camel's hump, okay? I was super sick. And I didn't know I was super sick because this is just how I felt. And it happened over the course of years. So I had brain fog, I had hair loss, I had thyroid dysfunction, I had anxiety, I had heart palpitations, asthma, bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, sometimes on the same day, right? Just kind of mix and match and pick something. And then I had bad periods, heavy periods, fertility challenges. I was wasting. I wasn't absorbing my nutrients. I was really sick. And when I was 35, I had had my second kid. I'm now attending and practicing medicine, practicing OBGYN, and I got diagnosed with celiac. And that is the first sort of watershed moment because it altered my life, right? And I went gluten-free, and then a functional medicine doctor diagnosed me. So I started to untangle all that stuff of 20 years of being ill that I had never, because when I look back, this all really started when I was like 10, 12 years old, and I got diagnosed when I was 35. So I had 20 years of dysfunction. That was my entry into functional medicine. And I ultimately, a few years later, went into functional medicine because I was like, there's a lot of people who can do surgery and deliver your baby. There's not a lot of people who can do what I do and take care of women. So I left and went into that. So let me just, before I go any further, let me pause because there's a lot to unpack there.
Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. You know, I feel like these stories of the clusters of symptoms are so present in almost everybody we talk to in the health and wellness world, because we're talking to health coaches a lot, we talk to doctors a lot, functional medicine doctors a lot.
Yeah.
This must be what you see in your functional medicine practice. People walk in with these clusters of symptoms.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's so crazy is we're all going to the doctor because we want to feel better. And then we're told to the doctor that it's just a function of getting older and you should just prepare yourself to be less functional as you get older. And that's just the way life is. And I'm like, no, you're meant to be vital, vibrant, healthy, able and interested in intimacy till you're at least 100. And every decade is meant to get better than the one before it. So I disagree with that philosophy that you're just getting older, so suck it up, right? That's not okay. But yeah, these clusters of symptoms. And basically, I didn't have headaches. That was one thing I didn't have. But headaches, brain fog, confusion, difficulty thinking, difficulty losing weight. I didn't have that problem. I had the problem of I couldn't gain weight because I was wasting. And ultimately had celiac because I wasn't absorbing anything. And I just didn't know. You know, I remember learning about it in med school, but it was this sort of literally one line, celiac sprue, can't eat gluten. Okay, move on. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. So we wrote our school, the one that Erin and I worked for, we both went to, we recently wrote just a specialty course around functional therapeutic diets. And it was written by an RD who graduated from our course. She had to go do research on some of these nutritional strategies because she's like, most dietitians are not learning these nutritional strategies. I don't know about you, Erin, but I was blown away by that realization. I assumed dietitians were trained on these different nutritional strategies, an autoimmune protocol, a low FODMAP or special carbohydrate diet. I was fascinated by this and these symptoms that you're talking about. I know I can relate to them. I've heard Erin talk about how she can relate to them. The number of women that I talk to that are like, me too. And so we have all these nebulous symptoms that can quite frankly be a whole bunch of different things, right? So brain fog can be representative of a lot of different things. And then when I had a similar trajectory, my illness was a little different than yours. I didn't have celiac, although genetically I have a predisposition. Isn't that interesting? But, anyway, everything got better when I took certain triggers out of my diet, things that were just common triggers. I wasn't really sure which one was causing the problem, but I didn't care. I got miraculously better. And this is what health coaches are dealing with often too. And I think they find themselves in a position like, I'm not a doctor, I don't treat illness, but we can talk about promoting wellness. And so we can do all of the things that we know that help support an immune system, that help create a healthy environment and all of these things. And the degree to which it addresses your symptoms and corrects whatever the illness is, that's great. But none of us are really licensed to diagnose anything, to treat anything, to prescribe anything. So I know health coaches listening are going to love to just hear you talk about, hey, your clients are presenting these symptoms. It could be representative of a lot of these different things and helping us be able to have constructive coaching conversations that empower clients to take whatever step makes sense, whether it's working with a functional medicine practitioner or giving something a try and going there. But for you, the watershed moment was celiac. For me, it was just, I didn't have anyone, just my immune system was terrible. I had been on antibiotics for so long, I had no immune system left. And boy, was I pissed that was like the only answer. Here's another antibiotic. Boy, was I mad. Erin's was something different. So.
Yeah, it's really challenging. And I think one thing I would say is like 80% of what I do, you don't need to be a doctor for. And then there's like 20% of what I do that you need to be a doctor for. So when I say to you, look, here are all the things that are impacting your health. And we look at your health as there's your physical body, bones, muscles, ligaments, posture, exercise. Then there's your chemistry. That's what are you eating? How are you digesting it? What toxins are you exposed to? What do you have in your body? It's all the chemistry about you. Then there's your emotional relationship with yourself. What are you saying to yourself? Because we're super unkind to ourselves, and it sets off a whole adrenal cascade. And then there's your social health. That's where do you fit in the fabric? Are you isolated? Are you with people? And then there's your spiritual health. Why are you here? What's your legacy? What is the purpose you're meant to bring into the world? That's your health, right? And so the chemistry, most of that is really you need a license. You need a medical type of license to evaluate, but you can do, it's called the poor man's testing, right? Elimination eating programs. You don't have to have a degree to do that. You can absolutely walk with someone through an elimination eating program where you eliminate the top. You could eliminate the top allergy. You could eliminate just gluten or just sugar or just soy. But, I forget the guy's name. You said, if you're sitting on a tack, no amount of ibuprofen in the world is going to help the pain until you remove the tack. But if you're sitting on 10 tacks and you take out one tack, you're not going to notice it until you take out a majority of tacks. And so I usually say to people, if you're going to work with a health coach and you're going to work on food, do a full-on elimination so that you can see what's bothering you, because you are what you eat, and food is medicine. And that's a great place to start and workable, right? You're not going to harm someone by taking away their sugar.
Right.
So it's easy. So 80% of what I do is really, I do the diagnostic part. And then the work comes with, okay, now that we figured out all these things you're reactive to and all the things you're exposed to, how do we systematically peel them off so that you can be healthy and feel freaking amazing? Because that's what you're meant to do.
Right. And in many cases, the things that the prescription is more lifestyle interventions than medications typically, right?
Well, right. I mean, you can't detox on a broken foundation. So if you're working with a client and you want to work with them on detoxification and fixing their body, you have to really fix their gut, their liver, and their adrenals. I call that the holy triad. Those three organs, because they dance together so beautifully, and they either help you thrive or dive. If they're messed up, you need to start there. And then you can work on the fancy stuff. But that's what I'll do. I'll do the fancy stuff, but you can get 80% of the way there with, are you sleeping? If you don't sleep, you don't detox. So most of us are chronically underslept, right? Like we're like proud of it too. Oh yeah, I slept for 5 hours. I'm like, oh, that's not enough, because you detox when you sleep. So if you don't sleep, you don't detox. Are you a stress ball? Shut down detox, shut down digestion, fight, flight, or freeze, pro-aging, pro-inflammatory. So managing your stress, moving your body, sweating, great for detox. You're not going to there is a small group of people who can't exercise. Let's take them out of that. Everyone else, you move your body to the best of your ability and sweat to the best of your ability as often as you can. Eat food that looks like real food.
Mm-hmm.
Don't eat food that you can't pronounce. Don't eat food that you don't understand what the ingredients are. And sugar's the devil. So minimize sugar, and alcohol is not far behind. I want them to keep listening. So I don't want to say it's the devil, but it's pretty close. Sugar and alcohol are the two sort of easy things you can do that are free and will profoundly transform your health.
Cool. One thing that I think is interesting is, we kind of kicked off this part of the conversation with like the patient, the client walking into either the doctor's office or the health coach's office, not feeling well and wanting to feel better. And this is symptomatology. This is just the symptoms they come in with. And everything that you said, sleep, move, eat. I have this point of view. And tell me if this resonates with you or what you think when I say this, because I got a lot of weird pushback from it when I articulated it out into the void of Instagram. Like, everybody already knows how to do it. Everybody already knows they need to do this. They need to eat maybe, lean protein and vegetables, go to bed, take a walk. Like, everybody already knows that they need to stop eating sugar. So why aren't you? Why aren't you?
Okay, Erin. So I am from Boston. There's a high school called Pregnant High, because 40% of girls have a baby before they graduate. It's called Pregnant High. And epidemiologists and social studies people have studied and shown that who you hang out with, you're going to be like.
Yeah.
So when you open your eyes and in the world, everyone's eating a certain way and everyone's proud of how stressed they are and everyone's just burning the candle at both ends. And that's what you think you're supposed to do. And so you do what everyone else around you does, and no one else around you is doing it. When you walk into the grocery store, most of it's not food. Most of it is processed and packaged. So you don't have any positive reinforcement there. And then you sit down and watch TV and there's no positive reinforcement there. So there's almost no place. You don't have a community where there's like-minded people doing what you're doing, which makes it easier to sustain. That's the biggest challenge, is that we're essentially all these little siloed island humans trying to do our best with no support and no reinforcement.
Yeah.
And so that's my response, is you can't do it if it's not around you, if you don't even see it. Why would you think about it?
That's right. So I literally did pose this question, and it was from a place of curiosity, not judgment, which some people thought it was a judgmental question. Like, what's wrong with you? That's not what I meant. It's like, what are the barriers? Let's name and tame them.
Yeah.
And
it's a genuine question. You're not being a jerk. You're actually genuinely asking, what's in the way for you that you can't accomplish that?
Yeah. And the responses I got were so interesting. I have to set aside some time to pull them together, but quite a few people said the modern food environment, or the modern, let's call it the modern wellness or unwellness environment. And at first I thought, well, that sounds like a bit of like somebody not taking, accountability for themselves. But on the other hand, it's very true. The whole environment around it. I mean, when you said we're celebrating being stressed out basket cases, it's like, oh yeah, we do that. Like, how's anybody supposed to calmly, come into their body when nothing about that is celebrated? We're celebrating. I just don't have time. I grab and go. The number of times I hear that badge of honor when I'm on the call with clients drives me bananas. It's like, all you got to do is set aside 15 minutes to make some food. Is that not important enough to you? And it doesn't feel like it is.
I don't think that's the right question. I don't think that is that not important enough for you is the right question. I think the question is, what's in the way? What gets in the way that we need to untangle so that you can make your self-care a priority? Because if you're female, you're an underserved population. If you're a female with kids, you're this, like, you're marginal. You're marginalized if you're a woman with children. So, that's the next level, right? I'm so sad that I only learned this like 8 years ago, and I've got 4 kids and I already had all my kids. And my oldest one did not learn the lesson because I didn't have the lesson, right? Which was put your own air mask on first. Nobody's taken care of if you're not taken care of. But I only learned that like 8 years ago. And I've been spending the last 8 years really working on. I had a meditation coach say to me, I can't coach you. I will not coach you on meditation. I was like, why? How can you be fired from a meditation coach? I got fired. I got fired because he said, look, you're too tired. You're pulled in too many directions. And until you handle your life, I can't coach you. And I was like, wake up call, right? Like, huge wake up call that a meditation coach wouldn't coach me. So that was that bad enough moment where I went, whoa, okay, I really need to focus on self-care. So I did. And I took it on. Like, if my air mask isn't on, nobody's healthy. But I think that the question is not, why can't you prioritize? It's really, what's in the way that you can't prioritize? Right. You have to ask a different question, because I just don't think the question we're asking gives people any room to step into, oh, here's what I need to handle so that I can take care of myself.
Yeah. So when the meditation teacher said that to you, did you immediately see what you needed to change? Because I think if we ask women, or not anyone, what's in the way of you taking care of yourself, I just think they'd have a hard time. It's sort of the spirit behind the question I had asked, is like, what's the barrier? And people really grappled with articulating and identifying it, or even seeing it in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, he said to me, you're too tired to meditate. You need to rest. You just need to rest. So whenever you think you're going to meditate, go take a nap. I was like, okay. And so we were in the process of starting a new business, and it wasn't that busy, right? We're starting a medical practice. It does ramp up. So I used that opportunity to take breaks and rest, and started to get in the habit of taking a break, resting when I could, getting to bed a little bit earlier, I always say that there's an upside to everything. So COVID really was terrible for a lot of people. And it meant that we weren't driving our kids to school. So it meant that I was able to sleep another hour. And it was the first time in my entire adult life that I had slept that much. And I was really saw for myself that I need more sleep than I was getting. And so now that COVID is done, I've really made a point. Well, I don't know about done, but COVID is no longer something that's causing our children not to go to school every day. Mm-hmm. I now prioritize getting to bed. Usually it's 10:30, but I try to get to bed by 10. My husband doesn't even get home until 10 past 10. So then we got to say hi to the kids and chat about the day and blah, blah. So 10:30, we go to sleep. But then I get up at 7:15, which is almost 9 hours in bed. And I need it. I actually need that. So the most pressing thing when he asked me that question was I needed to rest because I was burned out and I was exhausted. And so I prioritized just take a nap. Yeah. Just even take a 20, 30-minute nap or rest or break every day.
Yeah. I have a group of clients that I'm coaching at the moment. And I sent out this little survey about kind of what they want to get out of this. And one of the questions I asked is, what were some of your biggest barriers, or what are some of the things that you find to be the most challenging? And I had a list of them. One was knowledge. Hey, I just don't think I know the right things. One was money. Do you feel money is a barrier for you, that you feel it's too expensive to eat or live a healthy lifestyle? Another one was time. Okay, that you just don't have enough time. Another one was stress. Another one was like support system, environment kind of thing. And many of them felt the information was not the problem. To Erin's point, they kind of felt they knew at least the basics. There's probably stuff they're missing, obviously, but there's a lot that they know they should be doing that they aren't doing. The money for some, I think people are willing to invest, and there's a hierarchy of things that you can invest in that start with a relatively low investment all the way to the bad mama jamma cold plunge thing, whatever, if that's your bag. But the things that came up time and time again were time and stress, that those were the two biggest triggers. And stress, we can have a conversation around, and we've done these stress audits and trying to help people unwind this. But feeling as though you don't have time is also a cause of stress. And helping people realize that the fact that they don't have time is really just that they're spending it somewhere else. Okay. And it's helping them understand, look, I get that every minute of every day is important, and all the things you're spending time on in your mind are extremely important. But let's create a list of, yes, this is important, but if it leads to this or if it leads to that. And it's a multi-session conversation that you have to have with these people to help them realize, yes, driving my kids to the soccer practice is important because I want my kids to have the camaraderie and the practice and this, that, and the other thing. But it's also taking up time for me being able to get that workout in or sit and do whatever it is, self-care. And it's rather than me giving them the answer, oh, find a carpool, or hey, drop your kid at practice, but go take a walk while they're practicing. Rather than me, it's let's brainstorm how you can use that time a little bit better. But I think people get so mired in the minutia and the day-to-day, and they just get caught in this, like, I don't see a way out. But I think that at the end of the day, the crux of Erin's question was, this is why you need help. This is why just putting things on autopilot has led us to where we are. And this is why you need to kind of disrupt the system. Just going to see the doctor to get another medication doesn't work.
Another antibiotic for you.
Oh my gosh, right? And then it's like, we need to disrupt the system and do things differently. So I would love to hear a little bit about how you work with patients. Are these the kinds of conversations that you're having? Like, why do patients come to you? I think I can surmise that, but what's like I don't know if that's even a thing, typical visit, and what kind of conversations and things are you unwinding?
Yeah. So I was trained as a coach before I was trained as a physician. So when I'm speaking with my patients, I'm listening for what's out of whack. I'm listening for where can I make a difference? And I'm listening for what do we need to address that's in the way? Like, what is the show-stopping pile of poop that we cannot step over here?
Right.
So a typical visit with me, the first visit, we spend 15, 20 minutes and you're telling me what's not working. And then the next 10 minutes, I'm collecting data about you, just the nuts and bolts, like how tall are you? And where would you like your script sent if you need one? And what's your family history? So we're collecting data. And then a half hour, we talk about, okay, you're here and you want to be here. So here's a gap. How do we address the gap? What are we going to evaluate? And what are we going to start to address? And so I'm listening for, people are very generous with me and they tell me what's not working, right? I just have to respond to what they say. So they tell me about, so yesterday I was on the phone with one of my patients. She's been my patient for 5 or 6 years. I'm not exactly sure. But this entire time we've worked together, we have not been able to get past that her marriage is not working for her. It's very rare that I will say to someone, look, I can't help you. Very rare. I'm an internal optimist. I want to help people. But there's 2 scenarios where I cannot help people until they handle something core. And the core is if your primary relationship is not working for you, whether that's a marriage, a significant other, a family member, I don't care. Whatever that is, if it's powerfully negative enough, we have to deal with that before we do any of the fancy functional, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I fix the food, if you're constantly stressed and you're not pooping and there's some major issues, or if people hate their jobs, hate their job and it's killing them. Those are the 2 scenarios where my response is, look, we need to deal with that before we can deal with the fun stuff, the toxins, the really, everybody wants to do the toxins because it's concrete, right? But stress is squishy. You can't be like, oh yeah, I fixed my stress. I got rid of all my exposure. No, it's ongoingly. You have to do it every day. So what I said to this patient yesterday, I said to her, look, I love you to pieces and I'm not firing you. I'm not firing her. I just said to her, we've been having the same conversation for 5 years and I either don't have the proper response or the time to really get in there with you. So I recommend you go see my coach. I send her to my coach because I said, we need to untangle this because you feel like you're not in the right marriage. You're pissed at your husband. And your life's not working. Like, how are we supposed to fix your digestion in that scenario? We have to fix the biggest issue first, right? So what I'm doing is I'm just listening for what's the biggest issue, and then let's address it. If the biggest issue is your digestion, let's handle that. So I'm essentially guiding my treatment based on what's not working for people, so that I can fix the problem, right? Like, let's always fix the problem for people.
Amazing. How did she respond to that? Is she going to see the coach? Is she considering? Did she? Because to your point, you've had this conversation with her for 5 years. Her health is not improving because this powerful negative force is still in her life. Did she finally accept it? Do health consumers get it?
She said, give me the name and number. And last night when I talked to my coach, I said, did she call you yet? She said no, but it was. I would hope that she calls tomorrow because it's her day off tomorrow. So, we'll see. But she was open to it. Let's put it that way. She was open to it. It was a possibility. She could clearly see that she was stuck.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, look, the best supplements in the world are useless if your life doesn't work for you. Yeah. So we have to get your life working for you first. And so what I always ask women is, what doesn't bring you joy? What's bogging you down? And what can you offload within your budget? What can you offload? Whether that's cleaning or cooking or putting the clothes away or driving the kids, it doesn't matter. What can you offload that's not bringing you joy? If it brings you joy, do it.
Right.
And then offload the other stuff, whatever that is.
And there's quite a lot, especially like women with, I finally embraced this. We had an interview like last year and I finally embraced this with the amount of time I was spending doing laundry, putting together lunches, cleaning, all this other stuff. I'm like, my girls are 9 now. Like, I don't need to hire a cleaning lady. I need to get my kids to clean up after themselves. I need them to understand this is what makes a healthy lunch. These components, these are the things I bought. Build your lunch. They now know how to do their own laundry. Is it done well? No. Do they sometimes screw things up? Yes. But at the end of the day, my own sanity and less stress and it hasn't cost me a dime,
More than that, Laura, you're also teaching them how to adult.
Right.
Right. And it's something that I really struggle with because we've always had a live-in nanny. Because my gosh, I worked for 36 hours in a row out of the house, 1 to 2 times a week when my kids were young. I was still an OBGYN. So I needed a nanny because otherwise I can't leave my babies home alone, and my husband works. So we both worked. We've always had nannies, and they did our laundry and our cooking and our cleaning. And that's like a gap that I've been trying to talk to my husband about. We can't figure out, like, we're not getting rid of the babysitter because we need the babysitter, right? I need her, but my kids need to learn how to adult. And my older two are like great at adulting. The younger two are like, why do we have to make ourselves food? I'm like, because you want to eat.
Yeah.
If you want to eat, you have to make yourself food.
With my first two, like you, I was on the road, and I didn't want to be the only house on the block that didn't have a grown-up in the house when they came home from school. So I kept my nanny longer than I needed her for that reason. She did the same thing to kind of earn her keep. She did the laundry, she cleaned their bedrooms. And to this day, my two older kids are like, Mom, they're calling me I'm in Florida, they're in Illinois, they're calling me, is this chicken good? Or, hey, can I wash this? This, because no one ever taught them how, and they're now adults. And hey, look, selfishly, I love that they call me for this kind of thing, and I hear from them more often and all of that, but it's a stark difference in kind of how they were raised. But I want to give you a chance to really talk about this toxin thing, because I know you wrote this book, Dirty Girl, and it's all about, so you're talking to your clients, and I love that you lead with coaching first. What a phenomenal foundation for a medical practice. So I absolutely love that. And I would love to hear a little bit about how you might be working. Let's assume that these other things are taken care of, and now you can do all the really cool, fancy stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you're looking for in terms of nutrition or product? Like, how does all that start in terms of uncovering where these toxins might be lurking?
Health Coach Radio listeners, have I got a treat for you. To get 72-hour free trial access to Primal Health Coach Institute and a 50% off coupon code to the How to Become a Health Coach virtual summit featuring video interviews with over 30 industry experts, visit primalhealthcoach.com/HCR today.
So when you think about toxins, right, because this is mostly, you have to think about it in order to react to it. So there's 3 major categories of toxins that we get exposed to every single day. The first category is, what are you putting into your body? Mm-hmm. That's what you're eating and drinking, largely. Okay, so that's your food, the quality of it. Is it processed? Are you drinking alcohol? Are you eating sugar? Do you drink water from single-use plastic water bottles? That's all the things you're putting into your body that your body now has to deal with. That's one. One next category is all this stuff, especially as women, that we put on our body. Mm-hmm. So hair products, conditioner, beauty products, facial stuff, lotions, dry cleaning our clothes, anything that's going onto our body, because your skin is your largest organ. So it will absorb, it will detox you, or it will tox you up, because it absorbs anything it's exposed to. And then the third category is this massive category of all the other stuff. So that other stuff is the vegan leather chair I'm sitting on, the EMFs from the lights that are making the camera look good, the air quality, air and water quality are associated with about 1 in 6 deaths. And that's from 1989. I'm sure it's gotten worse. The car that you're driving in, it has 10,000 chemicals. The things you're cleaning your home with, the things you're scenting your home with, the paint you use when you did a DIY project last weekend, all those things have chemicals, and most of them are endocrine disrupting, and in some way they throw off our system. So there's 3 categories. And I say to people, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to transform your external life in a day. We did not get rid of our furniture when we got into this, right? But moving forward, we try to buy furniture that is, here's the challenge. I have cats, and we don't declaw them because it's cruel, but they like to scratch my furniture. So I like to have things that are not porous so that they can't get their claws into it. But very few things are leather now, but we look for leather, right? If we're going to buy furniture, we're trying to buy leather. We're not vegans. And so we try to buy leather. If you're a vegan, you're going to want to go for vegan leather, but just know it's plastic. Mm-hmm. So sort of tease things away. As you do renovation cleanly. As you're getting new clothes, try to get clothes that don't have to go to the dry cleaner. And I'll tell you a secret. All my clothes say dry clean only. And a couple of years ago, I was like, no. And most of them are fine, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of things that didn't come through the wash okay, and I no longer wear them. But I buy clothes based on, I'm wearing this material. It's like a blend, and it goes in the wash just fine. So you can wash a lot of things that they told us to dry clean. And the reason I'm harping on dry cleaning is because it's formaldehyde. And that's the stuff that they preserve you with when you're dead. So you don't want to be preserved when you're alive. You want to look good. You don't want to be preserved. So these are all the things as health coaches, you can start to look at, okay, what are you putting in your body? What are you putting on your body? And what's in your environment that's exposing you to toxins? And in the book, it's really meant as a roadmap to walk you through all these things and systematically help you clean it up. And then if you do all that stuff and you don't feel freaking amazing, that's where I come in, because I do the testing, right? You don't have to test in order to stop exposing yourself to harmful chemicals in each of those 3 buckets, because you know that you're getting exposed. You just need to focus on, and it's never going to be 0. Perfection is not the goal. What's the goal is leveling up enough so that your body can take care of the rest, because your body was designed to do this. It's just getting inundated and it can't deal with it because it's got too much to deal with. That's all. Deal with it enough so that you can do it yourself.
So that was a follow-up question I have, because there's a lot of individuals that have differing opinions on detoxes, like systems and supplements and things that you buy to detox the body. And then you get those that are like, well, I have a liver. So, what is your opinion in terms of where detox systems like that, do they fit in? Are they a bunch of bunk? Are some of them pretty good? Is there a situation where you think, someone's pretty well marinated in this soup and perhaps there's something that can be helpful there? Do you have some thoughts?
That sounded like a really simple question, Laura, but there's a lot to unpack there. Okay. I'm just saying there's a lot on that question. That was one of those, like, this seems pretty straightforward, but I'm going to spend 10 minutes answering it. So, okay. So yes, you have a liver and it is meant to do this, but your liver is drowning. Okay. It's drowning. Think about it. You buy your favorite Lululemon pants and guess what? They have PFAS in the crotch. So you get to absorb an endocrine disrupting chemical into your body and your liver's like, I don't know what to do with this. You take the birth control pill because you don't want to have an unattended pregnancy, but guess what? Your liver has to deal with that too. You put on all this makeup because you want to look beautiful. And guess what? There's endocrine disrupting hormones in that, and you need to deal with it. You drink from a plastic water bottle, endocrine disruption. So we're getting nailed constantly. And so, yes, you have a liver, but your liver is a little puddle on the floor. Like, what are you doing to me? Please stop. So in terms of detoxes, I'm a huge fan of doing detoxification, but my reference point is not probably what most people think of. So I also am a huge fan of cleanses. Mm-hmm. A cleanse is like a 1 to 5 day reset where you eliminate things. You might fast, you might do a juice fast or a bone broth fast. It's a reset. It allows the body to quiet and get back on track. And when you get it back on track, you don't want to give it all the other stuff you were giving it. It's an opportunity to sort of take a break and then level up when you restart. So I'm a huge fan of cleanses as a reset. And I'm also recommend that people do it with the season. So if you live in a cold climate, you don't want to do a cold cleanse with a juice cleanse. You don't want to do that in the middle of winter. It's out of sync with the earth. Like, stay in sync with the earth. Do a bone broth cleanse in the middle of winter. Do a juice cleanse in summer. Stick with the earth. Then detox. I'm a huge fan because a lot of the things that we store in our bodies don't come out easily. Mm-hmm. They're like cemented to us. And so I'm a huge fan of adding in substances, and it can be as simple as eat your way to health, eat parsley and cilantro every day, eat a wide range of multicolored foods that give you all of the nutrients that you need. It's hard to eat that much, right? It's hard to get it, especially if you're also trying to eat with the seasons and maybe you live somewhere you don't have access to it. So that can be challenging. And so, but when you're working with people as a health coach, you're not going to harm yourself by eating more vegetables. Nobody's going to say, oh, I got sick from eating too many vegetables. You might have some gas or bloating. You might have to figure out how to cook it more, but you're not going to harm someone. So I always start with food as medicine. Start there. And then that last 20% includes things like N-acetylcysteine. You can take N-acetylcysteine and not harm yourself. Magnesium, glutathione, vitamin C. When you start to get into traditional, you can take fiber. There's the propylmanin fiber, which is derived from konjac. And the konjac root, the propylmanin fiber binds to all the mycotoxins and it helps clean out the gut from metals. So you're not going to harm yourself with that, right? It's all promoting health. Then when you get a little more, if you get into medicinal binders where you need a prescription, that's where I come in. Because that's the point at which if we're going to give you a prescription to bind these metals or bind the mycotoxins, we need to test in order to know what are we treating so that we treat appropriately and don't overtreat. So you can do 80% of this on your own. And then on that last amount, when you're like, okay, I did all this and I don't feel amazing. That's where the toxins come in. I did all this and I still can't get to the weight I want to be. That's where I come in. You mentioned at the beginning, what are those key things that you want to be listening for? Do everything right, can't lose weight. Do everything right, don't feel good. Do everything right and just can't get back on track. That's when you go, oh, you eat beautifully, you move your body, you sleep enough, and you don't feel well. This is a toxins issue. You have diabetes, heart disease, cancer, degenerative disease, or autoimmune disease. Those are magic words for toxins. Those are essentially euphemisms for toxins. Someone says to you, I have autoimmune disease. My response is, you have toxins. Let's get those out. Either a food or an environmental toxin or something you've been exposed to. Because food can be toxic too.
Sure.
I'm so interested in this topic always, and I'm always also so overwhelmed by it. Do you get that? I don't know. So we kind of started the conversation around our various health origin stories, and mine was like metabolic, right? I was pre-diabetic. So I was like, okay, I'm going to learn about that body system. I'm going to make it work for me. And I did, and it worked. But maybe it's not working as good as it could be, right? And this is like where I'm glad you wrapped up by saying, here's some of the sort of sound bites to listen for, to know if you need to kind of double down on detoxing, which is, I'm doing everything right and I can't lose weight. I'm doing everything right and I don't feel better. It feels like on one hand, it feels exciting to know there's another lever to pull. Okay, sorted out the pancreas. Let's go work on the liver or whatever. On the other hand, it does feel just generally overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. Erin, You're right. It is I mean, look at it. No matter how perfect you're going to be, you live on this earth. And so it's not a question of how do you get perfect. It's a question of how do you mitigate the exposures enough so that your body can take care of the rest. That's the question to ask, not how can I get rid of all the toxins in my environment? You can't.
So like, and your sort of trajectory here is food and drink first.
Yes.
And then it's the on your body stuff. So where do you, like, for example, what's the first place a person could start? Is it their laundry detergent? Is it their beauty products? What do you think?
Start with what you're running out of.
Oh, yeah.
Start with what you're like, oh, I got to buy another one of those. That's your opportunity. Right in that moment when you say to yourself, oh, don't forget to buy mascara or under eye cover up or laundry detergent, whatever you're running out of, that's the thing to level up on. And my favorite sources are Environmental Working Group. I use that almost exclusively, and then I will rarely use Think Dirty or the Yucca app, but mostly I use Environmental Working Group, which I like the way it's organized. So, because you can search for either by ingredient, or you can search for a product that would fulfill, or you can search your product to see is it good or bad. Maybe you hit the nail on the head and you got a good product and you don't have to change. Cool. So once you find a good product, you can keep buying it. And as you go through your life, you'll just level up as you run out. So, you think, right, Erin, when you're like, I got to fix my life. No, you have to fix the thing you're running out of. And that will, over the course of a year or 2 years, that'll fix your life. But then you live your life, right? We opened up an office and we had to get furniture, and not all of it was Prop 65 compliant, right? You have to let things off gas. That's where air filters come in, water filtration comes in. you do your best with the information and the ability you have and the budget you have. And then you work on your body to do the rest, and you support your body, right? Just don't scent your house with the fake scented candles, because those are endocrine disrupting. Don't put stuff on your body that came from another country that you can't track the source of unless it was tested by an independent third party, right? Just start to level up, and it's slow, and and you're going to screw it up. I have screwed it up so many times. I can't even tell you. So my favorite screw up was, I was so excited to find this laundry detergent, speaking of laundry detergents, that was on auto ship. Remember, I have 4 kids. They're young. We do a lot of laundry, and it came in a paper container, cardboard, so I didn't have that big plastic thing. I was so psyched. I bought it. I put it on auto ship. 4 months. We go through it. We get another auto ship. And then I was like, I never looked at that. I never looked it up. I just bought it. I was so excited about the auto ship and the cardboard box. You had me in a cardboard box, okay? I bought it. And then I looked it up, and Environmental Working Group said to me, it's not that good. It was, I aim for 1, 2, or 3, and I usually aim for 1 or 2, and it was like a 5. And I went, oh, come on, man. I'm the poster child for this. How could I have screwed it up, right? As a human being, this is what I said to myself. And my coach said to me, Wendy, you're human. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not really human. I should be better than everyone because this is what I do for a living. And she's like, yeah, you're screwed up. And this is a perfect story to tell people how you're going to screw it up just like Wendy did. It's okay. So what we did was we used it up. And when it was gone, we leveled up. And so I found a brand called Aspen Clean. They have laundry detergent. They have cleaning supplies. They're Environmental Working Group certified. And we get everything now on auto ship. But we got rid of the other one. It's the auto ship and the cardboard boxes that really get me. Those are the things that I love.
Environmental Working Group. That's a great tip.
It sounds like a very robust database. I mean, if every possible product, even this may be obscure.
Yeah, and they're the ones who come up with the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, the food guides. What's the cleanest food to eat if you can't afford to eat organic, and what are the foods that even no matter what you should avoid because they're super chemical and pesticide laden. They're the group that came up with that.
There's something I'm hearing about a lot in the realm of detoxification, and I just wonder if you have any point of view on it. Well, actually, there's 2 things I'm hearing a lot more. Parasites and mold. Do you touch on that at all in your realm?
I don't touch on parasites that much in it, although, yeah, I mean, it's a huge problem. There's like 57 billion parasites for every human on Earth. So we all have parasites, and sometimes they're disruptive to us. So I do a lot of parasite work in my practice, but I don't consider it a toxin because it's just how we live. Yeah. And then mold, I do consider a toxin, which is kind of weird. It's more that parasites are disruptive and mold and mycotoxins are toxic. So that's the way I think about it. Mold is everywhere, but 1 out of every 2 buildings has had some type of water damage or mold. And so we're getting exposed to mold at a very high rate, and it can put out toxins in your body and make you very sick. And it can also live in your body and make you very sick and disrupt the system. So I do a lot of work diagnosing and treating mold. Mold treatment is basically just binders, but you want to know, what are you treating and for how long? It takes a lot longer than you think.
Yeah. Is there a test to...
Yeah, there's a bunch of tests. We use in our practice, we use the Mosaic, mycotoxins, environmental toxins, and glyphosate test. It's actually 3 separate tests that we bundle together. And we also do testing for heavy metals using doctors' data and a provoked DMSA prescription. So the testing for mycotoxins is very straight. All of the testing is just urine. And there's a lot of other companies who do it. We just really like the testing and the reporting and the way it's organized. And also the price point. So there's real-time labs that's covered by Medicare, but if you don't have Medicare, it's like $700. So most people balk at that.
Yeah.
And then some of it's pharmaceutical and some of it's just supplement. So for example, we used to do a lot of Welchol, which was a very, very crappy cholesterol medicine because it was designed to bind to your food, but your food's not the source of why you have high cholesterol. So it was designed to bind to the food so that you didn't get high cholesterol. when they thought that that's how you got it. But it's a terrible cholesterol drug, but it's an amazing drug for mycotoxin binding, for ochratoxin. So we used to use a lot of that. And then we evolved into, hey, the propylmannan fiber binds to all the strains of mycotoxin. So why not just take that? So we transitioned to more of that with chlorella. We do a lot of cilantro. So some of it's pharmaceutical and some of it's just nutraceuticals or nutritional supplements.
Wow. What an enormous field of study.
It's a lot.
It is enormous. The reason why mold comes up for me is because, well, first of all, I live in a really old ramshackle cottage. So I'm assuming there's mold.
It doesn't look weird. It looks lovely from here.
It does.
Yeah, I lipstick the pig, that's for sure. But, I think, like, for example, where I live, though, is a very dry climate. But, like, some people live in, like, I was camping in the rainforest last spring. And I was thinking, man, this place has got to be full of mold. Am I going to be okay? But I don't know, like in our natural environment, we are exposed to things, but maybe it's just the concentration and the types. Is it just a modern human expression of these things that we're up against?
Yeah. So when I grew up Jewish, and in Passover, you sing the song and they say the song Dayenu. And the song Dayenu means it would be enough. It would have been enough. Dayenu means it would have been enough if, but then there was more. Wait, it's like a sales thing. Wait, there's more. So if we were just living our big lives, that would be enough. But then we layer on that all of the conveniences of our life, and I'm not recommending we get rid of the conveniences. I'm recommending that we mitigate the effect of them, because we're not going to go live in a cave. Okay. But even if we did, we're living on the earth and it's toxic and polluted. So we need to mitigate this. So, but then we layer on all the conveniences of our daily life, and then we layer on the quick food, and then we layer on not sleeping enough. Every one of those would have been enough. And then we layer on the water damage. It was enough before we got to the water damage, but by the time we get to the water damage or the concentration of mold, or you live in Florida, Laura, so it's wet there, it's moldy there. It's like we have to optimize ourselves so that we can deal with all the stuff we're exposed to, because it's enough even without the exposures, right? If all I'm dealing with is the mold, it's enough. Each one of those is enough. So we're Dianuing all over the place because every one of them is enough. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that. My move down to Florida, my seasonal allergies have gotten much worse. Where they were actually seasonal when I lived in Illinois, they're kind of year round now. And I'm thinking there's likely mold related down here because I didn't have that kind of exposure. I mean, there's different plants here too that give off different pollens, but there are days where I'm like, my allergies are really, really bad today. But I look at the little weather app and it says that allergens are low. And I'm like, then why do I feel like garbage? So there's got to be something here that I just don't know how to handle because I'm new to Florida and I don't know what the protocols may be to mitigate mold and things of that nature other than dehumidifiers and things of that nature. But we're learning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of test, don't guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a fan of if you're renovating. So we had my husband's Russian, and when we built our house, I mean, it's almost 20 years ago, we built this house and he's like, we need a steam shower. Okay. Yeah. So we put the steam shower in, and then it turns out that we didn't properly ventilate it. Okay. Rookie mistake, but we made a mistake. So, okay. So it's been improperly ventilated for a long time. And I had the mold testing guys come out and they were like, yeah, that's mold. So we then had it remediated. And then I said to my husband, this is how we go spend money in our house. I said to my husband, we have a design flaw. It is improperly ventilated and it's never going to be different. We can't change it unless we fix the ventilation. And if we're going to rip out the walls to fix the ventilation, we're going to renovate the bathroom because it's 20 years old. Like, why would we put lipstick on that pig, right? Let's do it right. So we've been planning this for almost a year. We rip out the bathroom. And then I said to the contractor, rip out the ceiling and rip out all the walls. And he's like, what? No, you have the walls. They're fine. And the ceiling is fine. I'm like, it's not fine. Don't find me. We're ripping everything out because you're here. Like, why are we going to do it twice? So we rip it out and he comes to me and he says, the ceiling's moldy. I'm like, no kidding, Sherlock. Like this is, I was worried about that. So sometimes you don't even know. And my husband said to me, maybe that's why you don't feel optimal, because I'm super sensitive to mold and I've been treating it for years. He's like, maybe that's why you don't feel well. I'm like, maybe. I look forward to seeing how we feel after now the remediation guys are coming back again. They're coming back on Friday, but you never know what's behind your walls. So if you're doing any construction, I always recommend rip everything out. Don't just say, oh, well, we're just doing this area. But if you're doing this area, rip the whole thing out so you can see, because you won't regret fixing an underlying problem that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
You won't. So if you're doing any construction, Laura, in your Florida home, make them open it up, because you can have mold in the walls and not know it.
Yeah.
And the testing doesn't pick it up either.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that. Really?
It's behind the walls. Like he found the surface mold, but when he came back, he was like, no, you're good. But it was behind the walls. It was in the ceiling against the rafters.
So the testing doesn't show it, yet you're still impacted by it.
Correct.
Is it because the test isn't as sensitive as you are? Or, I mean, what do you think's behind that?
I think we're back to Diana, right? Like I lead a stressful life, and I do get enough sleep and I eat really well, but I'm also menopausal, and that's never kind to anybody. And I think it's like my cup runs over, and I'm also genetically primed, right? I said to my parents like a year ago, I love you guys. I'm so happy you had me, but you really shouldn't have, because you have the worst genes. You should not have reproduced. You really shouldn't have. And they were like, what? So, yeah. And they, I think they thought it was funny, but I was really serious. I was like, you really should have not reproduced together. So, my cup always runs over, just because I just kind of roll with my cup. And that's my whole job in life, is to decrease how sensitive I am and decrease or increase my resiliency. That's what I work on all the time, is how do I get more resilient? How do I get less reactive? So I do a lot of different stuff, right? I mean, because it's toxins, but like you mentioned, environmental allergens, like I'm reactive to those too. So how can we peel that off? So my life is essentially about, how do I peel off all the stuff that tortures me? And so I think that because I'm so jacked up all the time, just that small exposure was enough to, but it was chronic. It wasn't like a big flare. It was just like, I just don't feel great.
Yeah. Right. And you described yourself as, because I'm so mold sensitive, I kind of could tell that there's maybe something lurking somewhere behind the walls. And so I was thinking, I always try to take this on board and then think, how can I share this with clients? But I feel like, well, I don't think I am mold sensitive, but I literally have no idea. So then I go back I get my time machine and go back 15 years when I didn't know for sure if I was sensitive to gluten, and tried just eliminating it for one day just to see if I could. And then that went okay. It did okay. I mean, I did it. So I tried it for the second day, and then I tried it for a third day just to see if I could do it even. And then by day 5, I felt better, palpably. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wait, there was something there. So this idea of like down-regulated, your sensitivity is down-regulated because you're just constantly not feeling well. And being able to run experiments with clients. And I think your approach sounds very moderate, which I like, because it's like, just try one thing for one day. And it's not like you're going to just, feel better, right? I don't know. Once they took the drywall out, did you feel immediately better, or did it take a few days, right?
Right. Well, I moved out of my bedroom so that they could do this renovation, because I'm like, I'm not going to be one wall away while you're doing all this. So we actually moved out of our bedroom and our attached bathroom. We went to another room in the house. So I haven't yet noticed it, but the remediators also haven't come yet. They're coming on Friday in 3 more days. So I don't have that data, but I will say to people, pay attention to how you feel when you travel. Do you feel better when you leave your house? Because that can be an indicator that you either have some type of environmental toxin or mycotoxin that's messing you up. What's cool? How do you feel when you leave your house?
I do notice that. I feel a little bit when I'm out walking my dog. I feel better than when I've been in the house for hours, and I always just chalk that up to, I'm powered by the sun and I need to be outside. And like, so there's probably more than one thing, being outside is better for you. I mean, I walk around barefoot a lot. I'll step in my grass a lot and I ground to that. And I try to be outside with the sun and just getting fresh air. I've always, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this house. It can be being inside too long anywhere, but I think it's more pronounced here because my allergies seem so bad. But then I'm like, if it was just environmental allergies, I wouldn't necessarily notice that I feel better when I'm out walking the dog.
Right. But if you have environmental allergies and you live in Florida and everything's air conditioned, they're filtering that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't actually make sense. Because what you would then say is, I go outside and I erupt. You're saying you feel better when you go outside.
I do.
So then the response is, okay, test your house.
Yeah.
And then either filter the air or remediate the problem because something's not right there.
Something's not right. Yeah. We just talked about that. We're going to have a mold company come in, but also we're not awesome at making sure our filters are clean and all that other stuff. So these are little things, little steps that we can take to just make sure as things are getting filtered out that it's clean and all of that stuff. So, and that's on us. My husband's a handyman. He knows how to do it. It's kind of like the cobbler kids that, that have no shoes.
Yeah. You need it on a schedule, right? Because it's even, I know when we replaced our filters, but then life gets busy and you forget. So that's kind of why I put stuff on auto ship because it just shows up automatically. And then that's the cue. Oh, okay. I got to replace that.
Beauty of auto ship. I love it.
I love auto ship. It's my best friend is auto ship.
Oh gosh. I just feel like there's so many different little avenues we can go down here. This is such a large topic. You've done a really, really nice job of making it seem very attainable. Like I feel more empowered to maybe learn this stuff myself and help my clients learn it too. I really like this that was the Jewish folk song that we had enough.
Dayenu. It was enough.
It was enough. Like that really resonates with me. It's our poor bodies are really under siege and we can chip away, take little things away and support the body. And I love doing that. That's what I love doing with health coaches. And that's in the purview of a health coach. Mm-hmm. Let's do some small tweaks that help you maybe feel a little better. Let's just run this experiment and see what happens. Like no big deal. It's also nice to know that there are medical interventions, if necessary to get to that point. So I really want to just thank you for, this is a topic we haven't talked about very much on the podcast.
Right. And I love your tip too. Like, hey, don't feel like you got to tackle it all at once. What are you running out of like next week that you're going to have to replace and do it? It makes it a lot less overwhelming. And it seems like you don't have to like throw everything out and spend thousands of dollars to replace it all. You do it a little bit at a time. So, and so people so your book came out, right? It's out now, right?
Yep. It's called Dirty Girl, Ditch the Toxins, Look Great and Feel Freaking Amazing.
Awesome. So where can people find it? Is it on your website, Amazon, all the things? Where is it?
It's on our website at dirtygirldetox.com or drwendy.com. By the way, I have a free gift for people. Don't let me forget. But I think Amazon's the easiest way because you can get it on either the Kindle or you can get it in a hard copy or a soft copy off of Amazon. It's going to get to you quicker if you get it from us, and we don't have Prime shipping. So it's a little bit quicker to get it from Amazon. And I would recommend don't type in Dirty Girl if you go to Amazon because you're not going to get the book. You're going to get something else. So type in Dirty Girl Detox book or Dirty Girl Trubow or something that will tell Amazon that you are looking for detoxification and not something else. Hot top ticks.
Very good tip. We have a lot of coaches that specialize in this, so I think that folks are going to really want to jump in. By any chance, is there an audiobook that I can listen to on my walk?
I haven't yet recorded it. It's coming. It is coming. I just, Cool. It's going to be me. So it's coming. I promise.
Good voice for audio. I think it'll be great.
Yeah. And then I don't want to forget to give the listeners, because you might be thinking, okay, do I have toxins? Is it bothering me? How do I know? Where do I start? So we put together a quiz. You can figure out how toxic you are, low, medium, or high. It's not testing. It's a quiz. It just gives you a symptom evaluator. And then we have action items and a knowledge base. So, and chapter 1 of the book. So if you're not sure if you want the book, you can go read chapter 1. That's all at drwendie.com/gift. And that's drwendie.com/gift. And that'll get you all that stuff. And then I'm on all the socials, so at Wendy Trubow, MD is where you can find me.
Wonderful. Great stuff. Well, this is so nice, Dr. Wendy. Thank you for filling us in on all this stuff. And just grateful for you for being such a voice of reason in a very fraught health topic.
Thanks for having me on. And good luck to you both.
Thank you.
This podcast was brought to you by Primal Health Coach Institute. To learn more about how to become a successful health coach, get in touch with us by visiting primalhealthcoach.com/call. Or if you're already a successful health coach, practitioner, influencer, or thought leader with a thriving business and an interesting story, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us at hello@primalhealthcoach.com and let us know why we need to interview you for Health Coach Radio. Thanks for listening.